Class, good morning. Happy Tuesday. Today's learning target is to explain the importance of various technologies that were developed and used to help the Industrial Revolution and help make the progress that was made during it. Our agenda is first, I will be posting on Google Classroom a review quiz. It's just a Google form. This is not graded. This is just for practice and review. This is on what we talked about yesterday. I would encourage you to try to do it without notes, but ultimately I don't care as long as you do the quiz as practice and review. That's what matters most to me. The second thing is we'll be taking some notes, and I'm going to do the abbreviated version of this because it's going to be through a Prezi, and I'll be posting the Prezi on Google Classroom at some points today, and I'll let you guys go through that separately on your own as well whenever you have time. Reading through the surveys, most people said that for this class work has been pretty manageable, but there's a couple other classes where maybe it's been quite a bit and been more of a burden for you. So by abbreviating these notes, hopefully that'll give you more time to look through the Prezi on your own when you have that extra time. There'll be an exit slip today. That exit slip is going to be a classwork grade. It's just going to be based on how well you pay attention in this video. That'll be due by 3 p.m. today, as well as that review quiz about the origins of the Industrial Revolution. That will not be graded, but please have that done. Just to give you some forewarning, you are going to be having a quiz at some point. I don't know if it's going to be at the end of this week or right away at the start of next week. And I'm not even actually sure if I'm going to make it a quiz grade or not, but just be prepared for that. I'll give you more details later this week about that. Just want to give you a little heads up for that. So what we're going to be doing is talking about various technologies that were created and used during the Industrial Revolution. What I want you to think about as we're going through this Prezi is which technologies stand out to you as being more important and which ones less so. All of them are important. If they weren't, I wouldn't be talking about them. But some I do think are more impactful and more important than others. In the back of your mind, keep that question so that way you can use that information for what we're going to do tomorrow. Once again, I will post this Prezi on a Google Classroom later, so we will do the abbreviated version of this. So I apologize if it seems like I'm going too fast. Your exit slip will give you a chance to ask questions if anything's confusing to you, so feel free to use that exit slip as a chance to reach out for help, and I will make sure to answer your questions the best that I can. So we're talking about technologies. The first one, and there's no real particular order to this, so don't think that I'm choosing this order for a specific reason. It's going to be the steam engine. Don't worry about knowing who the inventors are for these technologies. This main inventor is James Watt. You're not going to have to know that for any test or quiz, so don't worry about writing that down in notes or anything like that. Steam engine was literally the fuel that powered the Industrial Revolution. It used hot steam to power pistons and engines for other machines and technologies in the Industrial Revolution. Coal would heat the water, then it would produce steam. The steam is what powers the engine. And this could be used for a machine, it could be used for a wheel. It was literally the power source of the Industrial Revolution. If you want to know information about how it works, I have attached videos to these slides. Feel free to look at those if you want. Here's a picture of what a steam engine could look like. Once again, it requires water and coal to heat up and produce that steam. So again, we're going to skip that for now, but you can look at that in your own time if you're curious. Second technology is the spinning jenny. This was invented, main inventor was James Hargreaves. This would be a machine that was used in the textile business. Textile, we talked about yesterday, produces cloth, which is used mostly for clothing. This machine would have spindles. I'll show you what that looks like. Each spindle would have its own line of thread. These spindles would help the thread, it says thread here, that should say thread, go through these horizontal bars, and it would be spun with a wheel, and it's going to weave all of these threads together. This was used for textiles, which contributed to things like urbanization, the factory system, and by using these machines, a little bit of a less need for workers, at least workers to help spin thread together. So this is what the spinning jenny would look like. Once again, this thread is being used to make clothes, and there's going to be other machines used after the spinning jenny to help produce clothes, but this is kind of step one of just creating the thread itself for the clothes. Again, we'll skip that video. Feel free to watch it on your own. So after spinning jenny, these threads would be woven together through something called a power loom. Main inventor is Edmund Cartwright. This would take all of the threads and weave them together, whether those threads were strong or weak. It's going to create one piece of material, and by weaving them together it would be strong enough to make clothes. The steam-powered version of this, the power loom, because you could do this without having that power, which would take longer, increased efficiency and productivity, where you can make more of these textiles at a faster rate. So it makes everything cheaper, faster, simpler, more efficient, and it boosts both the textile industry as well as the factory system. So you're going to take the threads from the spinning jenny, you're going to weave them together through this power loom, and this is going to be the cloth used to help make clothes later. So again, video here if you want to see how that works. Next one is the cotton gin. Cotton gin was mainly invented by Eli Whitney. So before you can have a spinning jenny, before you can have the power loom, you need to get the cotton to make the clothes from the material itself. So what the cotton gin would do would be help harvest cotton by separating the seeds in a more efficient way. So there's a cotton plant, it's got this fluffy material, the fibers, but inside these fibers are seeds, and you can't use the seeds in order to make the clothes. You got to get the seeds out of there, kind of like you have to get seeds out of any fruit you try to eat. Nobody wants to eat the seeds. You can't use the seeds when you're making the clothes. So this would be like a sieve or a strainer. There'd be a wooden drum that would have these hooks. These hooks would help catch the cotton fibers and leave the seeds behind and let them separate. And when they use the steam engine to power this, it's going to increase the efficiency and productivity. This is going to increase cotton production. It's going to help increase the textile industry. And what it's going to do is increase, quote, the need, end quote. There is absolutely no need whatsoever for slaves in general. But what happened was slavery would increase because you want more slaves to pick the cotton, which you then could run through the cotton gin. So it had a negative impact, not just a positive one. So here's what it would look like if you crank it by hand. The video will show you one that's not cranked by hand. Couple more. One, the telegraph. Samuel Morse, the main inventor. This has nothing to do with textiles directly. It has everything to do with communication, which can help industry and business too. It would use something called Morse code, which is a system of dots and dashes. And this would be communicated electronically. What would happen is you would run these telegraph wires from place to place, and you would use this machine to help communicate using Morse code a message over a long distance. So this is like the old version of texting and phone calls and emails and social media before all of that was created, just to help improve communication, which helps improve business. So what you will do is you will push this, be electronically wired, and it will send these messages. So if you want a dot, you've got to quickly push this lever. If you want a dash, you're going to hold it down a little longer. So that way this presses down a little longer to make that dash mark. And then it'll make a sound of beeping as well, which is just all part of communication. Skip the video, you can watch it on your own. And the last technology we will go through is the Bessemer process. Henry Bessemer is the main inventor here. This is the process that takes iron and produces steel from it. And this is a huge deal for building and construction. So what you will do is take something called pig iron. Pig iron is iron that has impurities. It's not perfectly clean and clear. And you're going to put it in this huge pot. There's going to be holes at the bottom of this pot where air is going to be blown through. And you're going to heat this iron up until it melts. And what the air does is helps purify any impurities in the pig iron. And by making the iron pure, you have now created steel. Steel is a big deal because it is stronger than iron. It weighs less, so it's easier to move and to work with, and it's cheaper to buy and sell and produce. So it's a win-win-win situation, and this steel is going to be used to build larger buildings like skyscrapers, help lay down railroad tracks, which is going to be another part of the Industrial Revolution, moving goods from place to place before we have cars and Amazon Prime, and other machines as well. So this is the construction building material to power the Industrial Revolution. There's a picture of what that looks like. Video if you want to watch it as well. Oh, I guess I have one more. My apologies. Forgot about this one. Sewing machine is the last one. So after you use the spinning jenny, the cotton gin, the power loom for making your cloth for the textile industry, you now need to take that cloth, cut it, and then sew it together to make actual clothes. So it's going to be used to stitch seams and sleeves for shirts and whatnot. It's a whole lot easier to use a sewing machine than it is to do this by hand, which was what had to be done before this was created. Elias Howe was the main inventor there. This once again just produces the efficiency and increased productivity for making textiles. Right, so these are the main technologies that were used. There's other ones too, but these are the key ones. I'll make sure you know kind of how they work, what they were used for, and how they helped with the Industrial Revolution. You will be working with this information tomorrow, so if you have questions, leave them on the exit slip. I will post that Prezi once again on Google Classroom later. Your exit slip, here, to the right spot. It's going to be a classwork grade. It's pretty simple. Based on this video, based on the Prezi, what's the most important key thing that you've learned? What is one question you have that is required? That question could be something that doesn't make sense, or it could be something you're curious to know more about. Make sure that question's thoughtful. If you ask kind of a lame, surface level question, I'm not going to give you points for that. Put some thought into it, please. And the last one is optional, but if there's anything that's fuzzy or unclear, you don't understand it, please let me know. That way I can help you if necessary. Please look tomorrow. I will answer all these questions as a private comment on Google Classroom for you. Feel free to leave more than one question if you would like. Otherwise, that's all the work for today. I will talk to you more tomorrow.